In the previous video, I built a workshop tool cart, and today I will show you what I stored in it and the organizing system I chose. First, I gathered everything from the garage that I wanted in the cart and sorted it into drawers. In the first drawer, I put wrenches, ratchets, sockets, extensions, bits, and similar tools. At the bottom of the drawers, I placed felt for protection and also as a non-slip layer. Thanks to it, things slide much less than on bare paint. To store the ratchets, sockets, bits and extensions, I designed and 3D printed rails and holders. Of course, you can buy such things on Amazon or eBay, but I wanted them right away and custom made for my needs. Here is a small sample. I designed several sizes for each. Here you see only the basic ones. Holder for small sockets. Holder for screwdrivers. And ratchets. Spring holder for screwdrivers. Connector for rails placed side by side. Here is a connector that links rails one after another. The connector slides into grooves on the underside of each rail. The grooves keep the rails from moving sideways. The connectors themselves can also be joined together. I'm happy to share the STL files. You can find them in the description below the video. Into the rail I slid holders and started placing large sockets. They hold really well. Then I filled the rails with all the sockets I wanted in the cart. For large hex bits with Torx heads, I made a special rail. The hex bits slide right into it. For small hex bits, like standard driver bits, I also made a rail. I even created a split version that can be printed on a small 3D printer and then joined together. I prepared different sizes so taller bits wouldn't be too loose. Here you can see why. Even the basic rail I made split. For the wrenches, I didn't use 3D prints, but polyethylene foam. I laid the wrenches on it, traced them, and cut out the shapes. Originally, I wanted red felt underneath, so when a wrench is missing, it shows. But the foam had to be glued down, and with cutouts, it wasn't strong enough. So I placed another full sheet under it and glued them together at a few points. For the top row of wrenches, it works best to pull them out by the rings. For the bottom row, I cut slots so they can be lifted out. Ratchets and bit extensions I also stored in 3D printed holders. I made these spring holders in both vertical and horizontal versions. The extensions for the ratchet have not arrived yet. I plan to place them in the free space above the ratchets. One set of bits with a small ratchet stayed in its box. Hex and Torx keys are loose in the drawer. In the next drawer I put screwdrivers, tin snips, cutters, pliers and other hand tools. Felt again on the bottom. For screwdrivers I used 3D printed holders again, and for the rest polyethylene foam. On the left I keep all the crosshead screwdrivers. And behind them the special electrician's ones. On the right are flat screwdrivers and behind them special Torx screwdrivers. Finally I joined the left and right rows with rail connectors so they don't move. The rest of the tools I traced and cut into the foam again. In this large drawer, I put the electric and cordless tools I use most often. To prevent the paint from getting damaged by loose tools, I line the hole inside with rubber. It is not perfect, but it does the job. This drawer I also lined with rubber and put in electric and cordless tools I use less often. This smaller drawer I used for hammers, chisels, and bodywork tools. This time I used black felt, more practical than red because it doesn't show dirt as much. All the tools here are stored loosely. The felt was sliding on the paint, so I fixed it with tape. This drawer I designated mainly for grinding, files, grinding discs, pastes, and wire brushes. For the files I again used 3D printed holders. Another drawer is for clamps, angle finders, measuring tools, and circlip pliers. Again, just trace and cut. On the side, I nicely fit boxes for markers and a tape measure. Another drawer contains a mix of things that are handy to have. Sprays, lubricants, glues, riveters, rivets, sealing washers, and crimping pliers. The last drawer I use for gloves, earplugs, and adhesive tapes. Everything there is stored loosely again. This is how I organize my workshop cart. I hope you found some inspiration. See you in the next video.